In the wilderness between Egypt and Canaan, God, the perfectly holy one, gave the Israelites a set of laws which express his hatred for what we know as sin. Now you all have probably heard of these laws, the Ten Commandments. Pretty famous, but if you were to do a survey with people around you and ask what are the Ten Commandments, normally people don't know what they are. So let's go through them really quick. The first one, you shall have no other gods before me. God wants you to serve him and no other gods. Second one, you shall not make for yourself any idols. And lots of times that's kind of like the first one, have no other gods, but it also means that we shouldn't make a representation of God like in a wood carving and worship that wood carving. Some people do that with a cross. They worship the cross rather than worshiping God. God is a spirit, and you can't put him in an image and worship that. Also, we have other idols. Like sometimes we have superstars are idols, actors, actresses, idols. Sometimes the TV is an idol to us. We put him in front of God in our priorities. Third one, don't take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Be careful how you use the name of God. If you're using it as a degrading in degradation, then you're taking it in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. That's the fourth commandment. Well, we don't follow this necessarily to the T as the Israelites did, where the Sabbath was on Saturday and they couldn't do any work, they couldn't do anything. We don't follow that exactly the same according to what we read in the New Testament. But there still is the idea and the principle of rest. God created us. God created the world in 6 days. On the seventh day he rested, not because he was tired, but to be an example to us that we need to rest at some point and we can't run our bodies into the ground. Fifth commandment, honor your father and mother. Children, obey your parents. I think every one of us has broken this one, but it's definitely necessary. Sixth, you shall not murder. Now, most of us have never murdered anyone, but the New Testament goes in and into more depth here when Jesus says, if you have deep hatred for someone, it's like murder. So you just have to be careful about who you hate, and this is talking about premeditated murder as well, the word in the Hebrew. And so if it's out of defense, then I don't think you're breaking that law. You shall not commit adultery. Hopefully none of us have done this, but again in the New Testament Jesus says if you've looked at a woman with lust after her in your heart, then you've committed adultery. So don't lust after other women or for women after other men. You shall not steal. Pretty simple. We have possessions and we don't want them to be stolen, and we shouldn't take other people's possessions. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor simply means don't lie. Even our little white lies are breaking that law. The last commandment is you shall not covet, and basically means not to want your neighbor's house or any of his possessions or your friend's toys or anything like that. Basically meaning be happy with what you have. What do these laws reveal about the nature and character of God? Well, God is a holy God, a just God, and he's a fair God. And during the time these laws were made, the cultures around Israel did not have a set of laws that was this moral. There was a lot of sexual immorality, and then killing and all kinds of stuff going on in these other cultures. And God demands a holy law. And what kind of stuff happens in our culture? Well, in America, I think Americans break all of the 10 Commandments, and I think you and I probably do as well if we really looked into it. What do these laws reveal about the nature and character of mankind? Well, mankind is very sinful, and we all fall short of keeping all these laws. And God requires perfection, but we all break these laws, because how many laws do we need to break for us to be guilty? It's just one. If we break one of these laws, we're guilty of all of them. Adam and Eve were given one command, not to eat of the tree, and they broke it. They were disobedient, and they got kicked out of the garden. In James it says that if you keep all the laws, yet break one of the laws, you're guilty of all. So when we break these, we're guilty. We're pronounced guilty. And so I think it'd be safe to say that all of us, you and I, are guilty of breaking God's law. So what can be done about that since we're found guilty? Well, we'll see that later on.